You are listening to the Starter Girls podcast with Jennifer Loading. Whether you are starting a project, starting a business, starting a brand, or starting a movement, we are here to talk about it. And I'm super excited today because I've got a special guest co-host on the show, Scott Zimmerman, and he is the host of Don't Be So Brewed podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're super excited. And we've got an awesome guest here today, and I'm super excited. We're going to have a lot of fun today because he's like really smart. Really, really smart. So real quick, I just got to tell her. No pressure, right? No, this is going to be fun. Wait till you hear his story. I think his story is just incredible. Like, that's all I remember, and I keep telling everybody about you is just that story. I think Scott's going to be blown away by this in a few minutes. So Ahmad, who's with us here today, is the owner and CEO of MyQHP Incorporated.
MyQHP.
No, I'm sorry, QHP. Thank you for correcting. I'm looking at that. I don't even know why I said that.
No
See,
problem.
I put my glasses on.
It's okay.
He's also a humanitarian with the goal of helping people around the world with common problems through technology. So I want to welcome him to the show.
Yes,
We're super excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So QHP, what is that a acronym?
It resembles my quick hiring process.
Quick hiring process. Yeah. Okay, I like that.
It's all about making it special and great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that was going to be my first question. Tell us a little bit about this company and what makes it unique. Like, what makes you unique?
So MyQHP is basically a unique approach to the employment experience for both job seekers and employers. I mean, I came back here in 2013 just to kind of like gather more information in software engineering stuff. And then I didn't like the employment process. I mean, I was keep talking to
as
people.
A job seeker or as an
As
employer?
everybody. I was at the both ends of the spectrum, and the more I was talking to people, not only foreigner students, but actually Americans, they were like complaining about how difficult it was to find a great job. And I'm like, okay, let me dig into the problem. So I started studying like other job seeking sites, and I was working for different employers, Volkswagen and this and that. And I saw that there were many red spots into the process, not only from the application, but actually the interview, and it goes on.
Red spots being just delay points.
Yeah,
or
delay
silence.
points, problems. Sometimes the employer posts a job offer, and then all of a sudden that job offer is already taken, but it's still there for people to see. So, long story short, I went back to Venezuela in 2017, and I had nothing to do, because the country is just in bad situation right now for everybody, not just me. So I took the time. I spoke with a friend of mine. His name is Javier Martinez. And we decided like, hey, I didn't like employment in the United States, and let's just make it different. Let's make it a perfect product that is free for everybody, not only the job seeker, but the employer as well. Because I think employment is a right for everybody. It shouldn't be for one person or to another person. If it is free for one person, it should be free for everybody. And the beauty about QHP is that this technology just keeps evolving. It's not just one product. It will keep changing and changing and be better and better.
So what's the magic recipe? Like, what makes it so much easier than Monster.com and Indeed.com?
Yeah,
now
so we have our own approach, which is a mapping format.
Okay.
So the job seeker and the employer will be able to subscribe, and the job seeker will have a map, just a mapping format where they can see each individual location and the live information of each specific location on what they're offering. Are they even hiring? Do you apply for a job? Did your application got read by the employer? Did they like it? They didn't like it. What was the reason you didn't get employed? All of these questions, all of this feedback that the employer and the job seeker, mostly the job seeker, look forward when applying for a job, we solving it into the platform.
So what happens there? So like when you get into employment like that, there's all sorts of equal opportunity laws and rules that play in, and I don't think everybody's quite so honest, right? They're not exactly giving the feedback like, you kind of smelled, it's not going to work out. Have a good day, because they're going to say, oh, well, they
hurt my feelings.
It's not just that they hurt my feelings, but they were unfair, unjust in the decision process because I was qualified, but maybe I had odor. If I'd have known, I could have addressed it. Right. And that kind of gets into a funky area. So are you finding that through your system that folks are being more honest? Is there any anonymity to the process?
Not only more honest, but just before the interview, if you get to the part of being in an interview with the employer, just to have a feedback. If you put yourself as a job seeker, which I guess everybody will be in that position before, the attention to receiving feedback from the employer, either by phone call, by a phone message, or whatever, is so important for us to understand, okay, if I didn't get the job, what was the reason behind it? And that feedback is what makes us, okay, so I need to be better for my next application.
Right.
And it's something that's
like, how do you improve? Like, something you normally go to a coach for.
Exactly.
They'd say, okay.
It's all about the exchange of information between the employer and the job seeker, but in a live matter. It's not that I apply today and 1 week later I'm going to receive something. Right. No, the platform allows the employer to give live information right there in the moment.
Interesting.
Which is very unique.
Yeah. Wow. So you're from Venezuela.
Yes.
And I want you to tell, so Scott can even hear this and our listeners, this story that you told me about how you came here and, you know, the bike or whatever. Remember the story you told me? I think this is such an incredible, like, story of, like, just grit, surviving.
Yeah, it looks like a movie, right?
Yeah. Tell this story because I think it's so incredible.
Yeah, I mean, even though QHP is a great product, it took a long time to make because, unfortunately, Venezuela is in such a difficult situation right now. And not only me, but all the young people who have great visions. And I'm sure there's plenty of talent out there. It's almost impossible to create something or just launch it. Because in Venezuela, unfortunately, we have economic situation. The politics are really bad. We don't have energy sometimes for a week or 2 weeks. We don't have internet. Some people cannot even eat. So I remember me and my dad, we will go and buy a bunch of food and just prepare a bunch of food and package it and give it to people. Because, you know, it's a matter of just helping. Mm-hmm. Either you're getting money or not. Or whatever. It's not about money. It's just, you know,
take care of your neighbor.
Yeah, take care of everybody. I mean, we're in a world that is really badly damaged. And, you know, you need to help. So in terms of creating QHP, how we did it is like in those situations where we didn't have energy, it is funny because me and Javier, we were like, so what we do? We don't have energy. How can we turn on the laptop? And I'm like, okay. So I took a bicycle, and I think you call it here an alternator.
Yeah, made a generator.
A generator. Yeah. So we took the wheel out of the bicycle and we started testing, right? And I'm like, okay, so you're going to cycle or I'm going to cycle? He's like, no, hell no, man, you go there. So so we were fighting about who is going to cycle the bicycle so we can have the power to at least power a little bit the laptop and then the device that gives us the internet. And we will go to the local gym and pay people like $4 an hour to just go hard on it and give us the right current that we needed. So yeah, so we were stumbling back and forward, and sometimes we will reach hotels, local hotels, to see if they can give us a little bit of internet or energy to charge off the devices, and that was a constant fight for a whole year.
Isn't that crazy? Like, can you imagine if we had to do that? Like,
you know, when he started, he was 400 pounds.
Right? Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Right?
You know?
He told me this story, and I'm just thinking, here we are, like complaining and moaning about like stupid things, and they're over there having to pedal a bicycle.
No, I think what you have here is a genius idea. You don't even realize it, right? But we take these bikes and we use it to supplement people's internet. So in order to access, they need a cycle. And however long you cycle, that's how much time you get on the device based on your power.
Wow,
that's an idea. Right?
We would have a bunch of fit people, right? We got to get everybody.
This project this episode may never air just because of this genius idea.
Isn't that great? No, he told me that story, and I was like, wow, that is like determination.
No,
like, can you imagine?
I'm the type of person, not only me, I mean, everybody do I get to know, even entrepreneurs. Sometimes I speak to young people, older people than me, and they're like, man, life. And I'm like, well, life is about that. You know, if someone throws you to the ground, or life throws you to the ground, or a situation throws you to the ground, even if you're bleeding, I mean, get up and continue to what your goal is. If you couldn't go forward, go from the left, or go to the right, or go up or below it. There's always an entry line to your goal. And
okay, Ahmad, you just got me like the hairs on my arms are standing up now. I'm getting all. This is what I talk about every day. Like, I'm just talking about complaining and moaning. There is always a way to get where you need to get.
Always.
There is always.
These are bumps in the road,
right?
Not end of the road.
But isn't it
Keep
that
moving.
story just crazy? Isn't that just like crazy? I mean,
I don't know what I would do without internet. I'd probably start going to Starbucks or places that had it just to, feed the addiction.
No, and the crazy thing in Venezuela is that not only not access to internet, you have to pay for charge. So it's like the internet, the more you use, is gonna end really quick. So every 4 days you'll be putting money into the device.
Right.
Yeah. So
and here we are, our internet goes down for a couple hours, and we're like complaining. We're like, we have no internet. We can't check Facebook right now.
Hours? My wife's like, internet's out. See you later. And I'm like,
yeah.
No.
Where she
give it 20 minutes. You know?
Right, exactly. We're calling. The internet's not working. You know, it makes, and I'm thinking you're here. It makes me look at it and go, wow. I mean, like, to be appreciative to have that when you had to work so hard to be able to do what you needed to do to get your business up and running. So I think that's such an incredible.
So what's your goal? I mean, Jennifer said humanitarian. I mean, is there a component to this where you want to?
Yeah. So QHP, I mean, I always thank God, and my family for not only the support, but the moral support, because sometimes we need a hand.
Yes.
Sometimes you feel depressed, like in Venezuela. I won't say like, oh, I didn't feel bad. Yeah, I feel depressed sometimes. I will eat for emotional purposes, right? But the thing is that my QHP is my first project, and it's a humanitarian project because it's helping not only the job seeker to have an amazing platform and continue to evolve it to be more, better and better and better, but actually provide this tool to the employer for free, because I think it's a right. Because if you think as an employer is a person who really fought his life really hard, and at one point he had like a right budget to start something, so some people forget about that. So, okay, this is employer, he has a store and everything is okay, but they forget like, what is his past? What did he go through to get to that point?
Absolutely.
So I don't think employment should be something that you should take money from that specific person. And humanitarian, I mean, the goal is not only take QHP everywhere, so every single employer, corporation, everybody, even if you sell whatever you sell or your services, I want you to be there and, put your job posts out there so the job seekers can go in and both people can have an amazing interaction.
So do you make money at all doing this, or how's this work?
I asked him this question when I talked to him.
Yeah, so there's forms of revenue like any other company. But but it's about supporting the most special person in the company. It's not me. It's not whoever employee is going to be there. No, we're not the important people. The important people is those who are using the platform. And are they enjoying it? Is there something better that we can put there? Can we enhance it? Is there a new technology that I can take in and put it in the back end so it makes it way easier? Maybe from here to 6 months, it goes easier.
So one of the things that I know I hear friends and colleagues complain about with the way things currently work is they feel like they apply. There's algorithms and queries that go through and that kind of auto categorize you.
Right.
And even though they might be a really good fit, these different keyword tools and whatever it is that's out there don't hit on them. So they get that frustration and depression because they're like, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't get it. Like, how do I do this? And my response to them is always get out, go meet people, go shake hands, go interact, go engage. You've absolutely got to. It's like, I tell everybody, go learn sales no matter what.
Well, that's the problem where I was talking about other platforms. And I'm not mentioning any platform.
Sure, right.
No. But
that was me.
We'll blame it on Scott.
Right. So the problem here is not the algorithm or the automatization. You can always mix things together. Now, if someone doesn't do it, then, that's their business, right? But the important here, me as a business owner, is what do I do with my business and how do I run it in the benefit of the consumer?
Right.
Now, I can take automatization, but then put the human part together so it's a really enjoyable because the one thing you and I and everybody here, when we talk about the company and those kind of stuff, is that we want to talk to a person, not a robot. I don't want like some computer thing take care of me. No, sometimes I want to talk to a person.
Sure.
And that's what QHP allows to. We mix AI, algorithms, human people, because there's someone in the end of the business looking at your resume, looking at you, chatting with you, giving you feedback. So everything is a balance. It's a matter of having a balance and just allow the process to be smooth and perfect for everybody.
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you a question, because you're young. So when you were really young,
it doesn't mean anything.
No, listen to this. This is why I'm asking this question. When you were like really young,
Right.
did you think that you were going to create something like this? I love to ask this question because listen, this is why I say this.
He was fixing alternators. That's how he knew how to do the whole bike
well, no,
thing.
because some people, and Chris is in here, he hears me talk about this all the time. Some people, I feel like when they come out of the womb, they know they're going to be entrepreneurs. Like they know they're going to be a business owner. And some people sort of kind of evolve into that. Like I grew up in a house where my parents were entrepreneurs. So that's all I understood was that I like autonomy. I want my freedom. So I didn't really understand it any other way. And so that's what I wanted to ask you that, because did you think at this point you'd be doing something like this or no?
Well, if we talk about really growing up, I had the blessing of, back in the day, Venezuela wasn't bad as today. And not only me, but most Venezuelans, we didn't have financial problems.
Right. Okay.
But I had the blessing of not only having a family, but my father, he was my figure. He's a warrior. He went through a lot of stuff. He lost his dad when he was like 12 years old through war. And just see the stories and hear the stories from him and how he fought and pushed through and he started selling like fruit, and then from fruit he went through jewelry, and then jewelry he opened his first company, and the first company he made another bigger company. So I always thought that from a young age that not only companies and stuff, but actually I love helping people.
Yeah.
That's what drives me through. If I can talk to you and you're having a bad day, or and I can talk to you until you have a smile on, man, that's the goal for me.
I love it. So you did get to witness a little bit of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I was creative. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things, because some people could never, like, I ask this question a lot when I have guests in here, and some people are like, yeah, I was doing stuff when I was a kid. I knew I was going to be doing stuff. Yeah. Like when I was a child, I joke about this all the time because my friends wanted to play Barbies. I was making things, like I was figuring out how we were going to make money. Like I was creating businesses.
Like, I'm going to buy my Barbie clothing.
I'd be like, how? Let's go mow some yards today. See if we can get like $5 for a yard today. And my friends would be like, okay, Jennifer, that's not even fun. Can I just go home? Can I just go home? Hey, Mike, you know what? You laugh about that now because we grew up in the age where we mowed yards. Like we would deliver newspapers and stuff. My kids won't even touch a lawnmower hardly.
Well,
like, they're just like.
It's different though too. Do you have children yet?
No.
Okay. So you've got a really unique perspective right now. After you have children, and you have to figure out, all right, how do I want to raise them? What do I want them to see? What example do I want to set? It's even more intense because it's not just the example you set for your community and your family. It's like now you've got kids like you to your father that you looked up to and were like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like you clearly said, you and Dad got together and you're making meals and you're handing them out. I mean, that's fabric of foundation and growing up. I mean, not everybody's raised that way.
Right,
It's
my
a
dad
different
has
mindset.
a saying. He says that everything that you seed, you're gonna take out later on.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you seed a good seed and you give it water and care, the product of that seed is going to be a great product.
I love it.
So
great role model for you. That would have been one of my questions. Who was your influencer? Right? I think we kind of know who that is. So I kind of want to switch gears on you a little bit. This is the fun part of the podcast where we get to get a little fun. I didn't send you these questions.
This has been fun all the way.
No, but it gets more fun now.
When you're bored,
it gets more fun now because I get to ask him the fun random. I call these the rapid fire questions.
All
okay.
right.
And Scott, you can chime in. You can no, you don't have to do it that fast. You can chime in at any time. So, okay. So, are you a morning or a night person?
Night person.
So, a night person. So, you're a wolf.
Hey.
He's like, what's that? You got to read The Power of When. WHEN. You'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. So, that's when you get all your work? Is that when you get like all your work going? Is in the evening?
I work. I sleep like 3-4 hours a day.
Oh my goodness.
And I just work. But the moment of the day that I most feel energized is
in the evening?
Yeah.
So you're like, you're just going all the time. Wow. Like 3-4 hours. I'm like, I had to take a little power nap right before I came in here today.
Put the work.
That's right. I love it. You're not afraid to work hard.
No.
It's awesome. Okay. So cat or dog person?
I love animals.
Good answer. Yeah. Safe answer.
This is my fun one. You can pick whatever. I'm not going to beat you up. I have all of them.
I love animals, but for the sake of question, I don't know. Cats, I don't know.
I have all of them. I have a zoo. You can borrow some at any time if you need to.
Hey.
I always joke about it. When I ask this question, I always do this. I'll go, they'll say cat or dog, and I go, and then they'll say which animal, and then I'll go, well, do you have a dog? And they're like, no. So I love that question because it's like, do you have one or what? Okay. We said that one. What, summer or winter?
Well, I'm from Venezuela, so we don't have winter. So
okay, so let's talk about that. What's the average temperature in Venezuela?
24 C.
What's that in Fahrenheit?
You know what that means? That means it's close to the equator, and 74. It's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that sounds 75. Good. We should go to Venezuela.
Okay, so let me ask, when you go to vacation, you go to the beach or you go skiing? You go for the snow. All right, see? Yeah. That's how I feel too, right? Like, I'm in Texas, and people go to Colorado to go in the snow, and I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah, I'm a summer person too. I always talk about this. When it's cold, it's hard to warm up. Like when your insides get cold, it is so hard to warm up. But I feel like when you're hot, you can kind of, you layer, just
take it off.
I mean, the winter is great. It depends on the activity. If you plan something, and yeah.
But you're from Venezuela, so you gotta say summer.
If I can go to the beach and eat fresh seafood.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's going to lead me to my next question. What's your favorite food?
Ooh,
I feel ceviche coming on.
I'm a foodie.
Okay, so tell us some food.
Maybe Spanish food, like Mediterranean food. Like a good paella.
I like Mediterranean food.
Yeah, good paella.
Yes.
Salpicón de mariscos. We have... the shrimp cocktail here normally is in tomato sauce or something like that. Right. But shrimp cocktail in Europe and Caribbean is like a nice cocktail of shrimp and octopus with lime and chilies and olive oil.
And ceviche style.
Style.
Okay, so where have you all been? Like, where have you been? You've been everywhere. I have this feeling.
I've been,
You speak like several languages. Understand them. Where have you been?
I mean,
he did it for the food.
Yeah, again, I have the blessing, as I said before. Back in days, we were in a great status. So yeah, I've been traveling around. I've been to France. I've been to Netherlands. I've been to Lebanon.
Wow.
Yeah, everywhere.
Very worldly. I love it. Yeah. Scott, have you been anywhere outside of the
continental United States?
Yeah, right.
I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Canada.
I want to go to Hawaii.
Hawaii's nice.
Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, and Israel.
You've been to more places than I've been. I must be very sheltered. Hello.
And Israel was just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So my daughter went to, my oldest, she's now 23. She went to Australia when she was like 12. And I remember she went with it was like an ambassador type program where there were like 20 kids and they had these like counselors that went with them. And I remember being being cool about it all the way until the day that she left. And I was like, what am I doing? I can't believe I'm sending my child across the world, And so
it's a great experience.
It is. No, it was. But I will tell you,
grows them up.
No, it did. But you want to hear something really funny? Because when she came back, I was like, okay, so where are all your pictures? Because back then we didn't really have all that Facebook like that, and where they just upload stuff. She had to take actual pictures, and she comes back, and I'm like, Kara, there's like pictures of like canisters and chairs. I'm like, she went to the Great Barrier Reef. She went to where the Aborigines were. She went to like some really scenic places, and she comes back with these like pictures of like not much. I'm sure they were sentimental values for her.
You want to know what that means?
What's that mean, Scott?
That means she had a good time.
She must have. But I will tell you, what she was impressed with when she went there.
Enjoy the moment.
No, I agree. But you know what was so interesting? The thing that she was impressed with, because I'm always like, so what was the big thing? And she was actually liked that their chairs that they had at the stadium where they did the Olympics were all made out of recyclable material. That was the thing that stuck out in her mind.
That's inspiration.
So isn't that crazy? That was like the thing that you never know. Yeah, that was the thing that she was really like her big thing that she thought was so cool.
I think traveling, it not only grows you up, but it gives you another perspective of life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Like, I didn't ever really want to leave the country. Like, I was so media inflicted. And when I went to Israel, it was on a leadership program, and I didn't want to go. Like, I interviewed for it because Alana thought it'd be a good program for me. And they're like, so, what intrigues you about this program? I'm like, really not much. My wife thinks
you need to do it.
Benefit from this, and I'm like a lump of clay. So if you're looking for lumps of clay, then I'm your man, and if not, then so sorry, right? And somehow I got into the program, and went through it, and it concluded with a 2-week trip to Israel. And it was really cool because we got to meet with leadership out there. We got to meet with businesses out there, both small and large, and got this, like you said, a very different perspective on just how things work. And, one of the things that blew my mind was how segregated life was out there, based on race and color and religion and where you're from. And like, being Jewish wasn't just being Jewish. This is where the Russian Jews live. This is where the European Jews live. This is where the American Jews live.
Wow.
It was really bizarre to the extent of neighborhoods were like fully allocated. So if you were a different spec of whatever that neighborhood was, chances are, even if the house was for sale, you wouldn't be able to buy it.
Wow.
And it got under my skin. I was like, how does this even happen? How does this function? This is wrong, because everything here is melting pot together, commingle. It was
interesting.
Crazy.
Interesting.
I mean, it depends. I mean, well, that happens a lot if you travel. I mean, sometimes you're going to bump into countries that things are so different than where you're coming from.
Sure.
So I never see it as, man, something is wrong. It's like, why do they do it?
And seeing how it's working.
What is it, the reason behind that? And sometimes you can learn about the product. You can be like, that's what they do it. I like that,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is another question. We're getting close to having to wrap up here. How do you define success? This is a good one, I think, for you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think this.
Yeah, you're going to look back at this one in 10 years and be like, "This is how I used to define success."
Did I say that? What?
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I think you got some good things going here.
I think success is a mixture. Some people are born with talent.
Mm-hmm.
Some people really work hard to achieve the talent. But no matter which position you are, you always have to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. You're going to find yourself in a situation of life that you're going to encounter people that they're going to drag you down.
Right.
So your goal is to be away from those people, because if you have a goal and no matter which obstacle you have, you keep working, either networking or working extra hours in a second job to have that budget to spend in your own goal. And no matter what you do in life, if you are disciplined, if you work really hard, if you know what your schedule is, and you're not the type of person like, oh, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and then you find yourself waking up at 10 a.m.
Right.
No, you have to be determined, disciplined, and just work hard. I mean, I think that's the secret recipe.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
I mean, meet people that have the same vision as you, and maybe you can inspire them, they can inspire you, and I guess that's what success is.
I think that's good. It's funny that you said that, because I just put a post up today about your circle of influence, because they always say you're like the 5 people that you hang around. And it's so true, because I'm a big believer that this is really why I love doing this show, because I love getting around entrepreneurs just to kind of ask questions and see what they're thinking and what's their mindset look like. And that's why I like that success question too, because I think it's just fun to find out what are your thoughts on that? How do you think about that? And I think, too, when you can take your talent and pair that up with your discipline, and you have, and I'm taking this course right now. It's called A Life of Fulfillment and Happiness. And they talk about these flow moments.
Right.
And flow moments are like when you're in the zone, like Scott, when you're out there doing your stuff and you're like lose track of time because you're in it, that's what the flow moments are, right? But they talk about to be like a pro in your domain, you need like 10,000 flow moments. Like you need a lot of those to really get good. And I think that's kind of what it is. It's when you can take your talents and you can really pair that with your discipline, and you can pursue a passion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what makes it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mixture. It's a balance of everything, and just focus on your goal. That's the main thing. And let me tell you something. The one of the secret elements in everything is passion.
I agree with you.
But no, most people say passion, you have to be passionate. But what is the reason of passion? You have to be passionate because passion does something to you that no other thing does. Passion does that no matter if you get hurt, no matter if you're happy, if you're anxious, no matter if you fail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, passion will get you through that emotional problem and will tell you, hey, don't worry, keep going.
Right.
Keep going and achieve the goal no matter what. That's why you have to have passion, because if you don't have passion, the very first obstacles that you find yourself or the very first fail, you're going to fail.
Right.
Failure is part of the process.
100%.
But passion is what let you go through. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, you're going to quit.
Rock on. 100%. I talk about this all the time. You got to get excited about it, right?
Excited, passionate.
And people, here's the other thing too, I'll say about that. When you're excited, people around you're excited. You know what I mean? Like people get on board with you and they get behind you when you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah. Now,
right?
I haven't been on your website yet.
I know. I was just going to tell him.
But you have got to develop a passion metric. Somehow do some sort of passion quiz so you could determine.
Well, that's within the website.
For both, yeah. I mean, that's
the website has 200 and I don't know the right number, but they have features that haven't been used ever before, and I have done studies. Believe me,
awesome. It's like a sentiment analysis around
everything, personality test, everything, but they are disabled. The reason why is that according to the traffic is growing with the website is going to grow with the traffic.
Yeah.
New stuff are going to be implemented little by little. So, yeah, I'm excited, and I welcome everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that leads us into our next question. So if our viewers want to learn a little bit more about your company and you, tell us where do they need to go?
So you need to go to www.myqhp.live, live as live TV, LIVE.
Got it. We'll be sure. I know that we're getting it on the screen, but we'll be sure that when we put it out, I'll have it on there as well. Yeah. So this has been awesome. I'm like, I love what you're doing, and I love really the passion behind it, like why you're doing what you're doing. I think that's the huge part of it. So real quick, before we wrap up, Scott, you want to put a plug in for your podcast real quick? And we want to say thank you, Scott, for adding input to the show today.
Of course. I'm actually working on making it so that my title bar goes all the way across the screen. So instead of just letters after my name, it's companies below my name.
There you go.
But yes, I am a member of the Don't Be So Brewed podcast. Check us out. We're just a couple of goofballs hanging out, drinking a beer, drinking a coffee, and shooting a breeze. So check it out. Come have some fun. It's
awesome. Awesome. And Ahmad, I want to tell you thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your passion and your company. You're doing great things. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
It's going to be fun to see where you're at, like in the next, 5-10 years with what you're doing.
6 months.
I know. I know. It'll be 6 months, but I like even think big long-term picture here because he's creating. I have so many friends that are your age that are just, it impresses me to think because when I was your age, even though I was thinking about being an entrepreneur, I was never thinking like that depth. You know what I mean? So I think this is incredible. I think you're doing a really neat thing, and I love it. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So with that, I want to say to our listeners, if you enjoy our show, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook because we can't do this without you. And hit the subscribe button on YouTube, please. And with that, I'm going to wrap up with our mantra. It's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.